While we try to be as helpful as possible, this podcast should not be considered as professional or financial advice. It contains general information only, and you should seek out professional advice for your own personal circumstances before making any financial decisions.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Nick.
And I'm Julia.
And this is the Enthusiast Lab. Well, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Enthusiast Lab. Today, we are slowing it down a little bit and going a little bit deep and meaningful.
Little D&M.
Although I'm feeling slap happy, so I don't know how that's going to work.
I should be right.
And we are talking about the ups and downs that we've had. So a couple of episodes ago in our special guest number 3 with Devlin and Samantha, some of you guys heard a very quick side comment from me, or like a very side quick convo, which was Nick almost had to sell his FG to keep our business afloat. And kudos to you guys for picking up on that, because that was like a very short snippet.
Yeah.
That was a very short snippet in a very long episode. But some people picked up on it and they questioned us. So yeah, I thought we would talk about it.
Yeah. We'll go a little bit into it and basically just lay a couple of things out for everyone. A bit of this is based, obviously, guys, on our experience. Some of the highs and lows. A lot of people on social media will see a lot of the highs, a lot of the shares, and a lot of the successes. Trust me, there are a lot of lows, a lot of fucking grinding out and pushing through just to make ends meet sometimes. We've learned a lot of expensive mistakes over the years. Running a business. We don't have any, business fucking mentors and business mentors and this and that. Everyone in this industry is very hush-hush, keep to themselves to push their own success. There are very minimal people out there that are there to reach out a hand without expecting something in return. And unfortunately, when we first started, we didn't have anyone like that to help guide us. So we struggled a bit and we learned.
You did have a mentor. You had your sales manager, which was your mentor, but it's not in the sense of opening up your own business like what we have now.
No.
We don't have any business degrees. No. We haven't done any courses to learn how to run a business and manage the funds and all that kind of stuff. How to read a contract. We just kind of wing it.
We fucking wing it like fuck. And look, we're doing all right.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
We'll keep winging it. It's all right. We've definitely learned to better and know how to focus on certain things now a bit better. And again, you learn through the process. So yeah, let's just give them a little bit of a rundown on where we started, a couple of the things, a couple of the builders that we went through. We're not naming names. I can't be fucked dealing with all the legal shit. It's just, we'll name them builder 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so I'll be referring to builder number 1, builder number 2, builder number 3, and builder number 4.
Yep.
Because we've worked with 4 builders and that's how I'm going to reference them. Builder number 4 is the builder that we are with now.
Yep.
And the previous 3 builders we have left.
Yes, correct. Because most of them were in an actual like a building group. So we got to deal with quite a few within them. But at the end of the day, we stayed core with like one builder out of that group.
Correct. So let's go on the Wayback Machine and start at where we started, really. So in August of 2016, Nick entered into the building industry and started at a large building company. And if you guys have listened to our episodes, I think it was episode 4 or 5, we talked about types of builders and how to compare them. This was a big building company, not your smaller ones.
No, it was probably one of the biggest in WA.
It definitely was climbing through the ranks on how many deals they did and et cetera, et cetera.
And job starts and all that. Yep.
Yeah, and you stayed with them for quite a while. And right before we left, around November, December 2019, maybe January 2020, I jumped on board and started actively helping Nick and managing our social media stuff. And in April of 2020, we decided to leave builder number 1.
Yes.
And we followed our sales manager to another building company, which is builder number 2. And that builder had been around for a decent amount of time, and they had a good financial backing. They had a good reputation. They had a good product. They, like, genuinely, they were a good company.
They ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
And, they ticked all the boxes. The things that we had challenges with at our previous builder, they focus a lot more on their staff and focus on the client experience and focus on the clients. And that was a really big thing with Mr. Enthusiast and our values. And it aligned with our values. And that was something that we really wanted to push through.
Yeah, definitely. So they, for all purposes here, like, they were fantastic from the get-go. Like, we did our research and we trusted our sales manager's research, and they were fantastic. And what I wanted to quickly interject here and kind of explain between Nick and I is, when you leave a builder, the commission that you are owed isn't automatically paid out to you straight away because you've left. Kind of like, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you leave that job, your sick leave or annual leave gets paid out to you before you go.
Yeah.
That's not the case. So normally a builder would pay you at a particular stage, which we've explained in types of consultants and how they get paid, again, episode 4 or 5. And most builders pay you at, say, slab down, which is you've gone through all the administration process stage and you are now in construction and your slab has been poured. That is normally when a consultant is able to claim their commission, essentially.
Yep.
To get paid. In a builder's contract, they state that if you leave that builder, your payment time frame shifts. So, for example, it will shift from slab down to brick stage.
As one example, some of them get pushed out to lock up. Yeah,
so it depends builder to builder. With this particular builder, it was switched from slab down to brick stage, I believe.
Yep.
To bricks finished.
Brick completed.
Yes, so all your bricks are finished, the site's been cleared, and it's ready for roof stage is when we could claim.
Yep.
So when you start looking at leaving a builder, you need to more or less have a bit in your savings to support you until you get paid. But either by the previous builder or your new builder, because you still have to wait for your new builder to pay you. And
on the new business that you do, which takes time, as you guys will have known from our previous episodes, it's not you sign someone, you for example, you guys sign up with us, you pay a deposit, and then we get paid, we raise an invoice and get paid the next week. No, it's anywhere between 4 to 6 months. And during the boom time, it was even longer than that.
Yep. So builder number 1 also put a lot of contras on us, but we'll explain that in a little bit what that means, because we'll go to actually when they actually paid us.
Yeah.
But June 2020, the building boom happened.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where this episode falls in line with that episode that we released with Matt. We actually talk about with Matt from Levita about the building boom and what was happening at the time. And I don't know if this is coming up before or after that episode, because we're
pre-recording so far in advance, yeah.
So we've actually recorded the episode with Matt and it's scheduled and it's like good to go. But after hearing the feedback from one of our previous episodes, we thought we'll record this one to come out a little sooner. But the building boom happened, and it actually happened when Nick was in hospital.
Yeah, first time ever in my life that I actually went to hospital. Never broke a bone, but had appendicitis and I had to go in. I actually went and picked up the car, even though the doctor told me to go straight to emergency surgery.
Priorities.
Fucking priorities. And then, ended up packing a bag, went to the hospital. I think it was Wednesday night. Had surgery Thursday morning. As they took it out, it fucking popped. And apparently midway through surgery, they punctured my bowel. So I ended up having septicemia. So rather than being a 24-hour turnaround, it was actually like 5 days.
Yeah, you didn't get out till Sunday night,
so
I think.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. I have to fucking count my hands. But basically 4.5 days. Yeah, it was pretty fucked.
So Nick went into surgery. He came out and he wasn't allowed to drive for a couple of weeks. So I was driving him to builder number 2's office and back. And because a boom had come out as Nick was in surgery, Nick's phone blew up with inquiries and we were trying to juggle Nick's recovery versus servicing clients, because we, like every other consultant in the industry, all of a sudden our inquiries quadrupled.
It was
sixfold,
fucking stupid.
tenfold.
It was stupid. Yeah, I was high on fucking drugs, just fucking couldn't even, like, so disorientated half the time that thank fuck I wasn't driving. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the medication was pretty strong. Probably shouldn't have taken that, but should be right.
Yeah, and like every consultant at the time, after having such a drought in the industry, when so much business comes through your doors, you don't turn it away because you don't know how long it's going to last for.
Yes.
So we had all this inquiry coming through and we were kind of sitting there going, we don't know how long this is going to last. So let's start meeting people. We don't have time to lose here.
Yes.
Especially because we had just started with that company, April, May, June, 3 months with that company. We had sold deals. We had started, selling the product. But when that much business comes through the doors, you don't turn it away.
No.
And 8 days later, that builder decided to close their doors.
Yeah, that was fucked. We'd sold 26 homes. I will release that number. That's fine. Like, okay. It was 26 homes. I sold 7 the day I got out of fucking
the day after surgery.
Day after, and just kept going. Anyways, so what was so fucked is everything was business as usual. Logged all the business. We spent long fucking hours logging all the business. And that day, that dreaded day, I'll never forget it. We rocked up like any other day, 8 o'clock in the morning in the office. And they're like, oh yeah, the owner wants to have a chat with you guys. I'm like, yep, cool, no worries. Everyone's sitting around in the sales room going, what the fuck's going on?
Everyone's a bit somber.
And yeah, we got sat down and basically went, look, because of, the building boom and what's potentially just come out, and with all the workflow we have, we've decided that we're going to close the doors. And unfortunately, will not be accepting any more business, and basically pack up your shit and go. And we're just in the going, bro, we have like fucking 30 plus clients with you for the last couple, for the 3 months. What the fuck happens to them? Well, what can we do? And he turned around and he just went, well, we're not going to accept them. We don't have any contracts with them. We're not issuing them. So we're going to deal with what we have in the system, and that's it. So we'll release the deposit back to the clients and release the copyright for the plan so they can take it elsewhere, and best of luck.
Yep.
Godspeed, basically.
Yeah. And because we had left builder number 1, we were at builder number 2 for 3 months. We are now 3 months kind of in a floating zone where this wasn't kind of what we were expecting financially.
Fuck no. No, it was all over the news. No one expected this.
No.
It was so left field that so many of the building companies were like, why? What the fuck just happened?
Yeah. So from our standpoint, we kind of went, shit, what do we do financially? Because we've now kind of not been paid for 3 months, and all the work that we just did for 3 months, we're not going to get paid on.
Yep.
So we don't know when builder number 1 is going to pay us because they're kind of fucking us around. It's one of the reasons why we left.
Yep.
And then we've got builder number 2 that we just logged all of our deals with are now not going to pay us for obvious reasons. So we've just done all this work for 3 months with no projected income from all the work that we just did.
Yep.
And that's probably the first time when we sat down, and I remember both of us sat down outside with a drink and went, fuck.
Yeah. I'm still fucked. My fucking stitches had ruptured from the amount of stress I came out. It was an absolute shit show, health-wise, mental-wise, and circumstances. And at the same time, clients are calling in tears going, what the fuck has happened? What have we done? What do we do now? We're not getting extensions on land. It was clients' pressures, the industry pressures, our own personal pressures, health-wise, everything all at once. And yeah, we sat there and just went,
what do we do?
This is fucked.
And because we had so many clients' livelihoods kind of in our hands, we take that really, really seriously. We all have a laugh and we all joke around, this is the biggest purchase of your life. It is.
Yep.
But from a consultant's or from our point of view, it's a big responsibility to have.
Yes.
Because we're signing people up onto homes, onto mortgages that are going to be with them for 30 years, unless they sell the home for obviously. But it's a big responsibility to have. And when you have, 20 to 30 clients sitting there going, we trusted you, what are you going to do now? That's a huge pressure that we kind of really felt in that moment. And we didn't want to leave our clients high and dry, so we jumped back onto the horse, and all through June we interviewed builders rather than builders interviewing us, essentially.
Ironically, yeah.
And because we had been burnt by 2 companies at this point in time, we had a lot of hard-hitting questions. We had
it got up and close and personal with many of the businesses out there, and a lot of them felt very uncomfortable and turned us away because they're going, you shouldn't need to know that. Fucking, you should be doing this. I'm like, well, you can get fucked. You can only burn someone so many times before you sit there and go, no.
Yeah, because we're sitting there going, what's your financial backing like? How like, confident are you going to be around for another X amount of years?
If this happens, what happens then? If this happens, what happens then? And putting circumstances that they sat there and just didn't have fucking answers for, I'm like, okay, cool, red flag, boom, you're out.
Builder number 2 just fucked us for this reason. Get fucked.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there was other ones we're seeing there, and I was like, cool, let's take me for a 2 or 3 year administration team. Let me see your construction. And, some of them were only having like 10, 15 guys going, oh yeah, we can hire more people, but, we should be fine with the volume. I'm like, no, man, if you're already pushing this many, and with the volume that's happening and everyone's about to ramp up, there's only so many estimators and schedulers and draftsmen which you need. Nah, mate. And like, oh yeah, we've been around for the last like 2 years. Yeah, no, not good enough in this current circumstances. So, and just kept fucking sifting through them.
Yeah. So in July of 2020, we eventually secured a builder that we were happy with at the time.
Yes.
And that is builder number 3.
Yes.
Had a good financial backing, been in the industry for a long time. They've been through many booms. So we felt confident that they could maintain workflow and kind of survive the tsunami that we were all trying to swim through at the time, because the clients or the interest in building, it didn't stop. It only kept peaking higher and higher, especially because there was so much grants on the line. So it was just such a whirlwind of a time. We felt good about the builder that we chose.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so that was July in 2020. And in the month that it took us to get to this builder, some of our clients out of the 30 or so, some had dropped off, some decided that they didn't want to build. Some ended up saying to us, guys, really love you, but we're going to go with a different builder away from you guys. And no qualms. I totally understand why.
It is what it is. There was only so much we could do, and it was nothing against us. It's just, look, this is what it is. I'm like, cool, no worries. Like, I wish you all the best of luck.
Yeah, and the clients that we did have, we moved them over. We got them signed up very quickly, got them their sketches drawn up. We got the costings out as quickly as possible so that they signed up, and we got them through the system as quickly as we could.
Yep.
And everything was going really, really well up and from there for a good couple months. Financially, we were struggling because
we were still trying to wait for this new builder 3, to start paying us, but at the same time, and still taking on the cost that we haven't had $1 paid since April.
Yes.
And it's been 3 months. We've got savings, but it's like, okay, shit. Now living expenses still have to be done. Everything else has still had to be done. So there's still
got to put food on the table and 100%. Pay the mortgage. So it actually took builder number 1 11 months to pay us. And it's not like we kind of were just sitting there on our hands saying, oh, they'll pay us when they pay us. We were keeping track of our clients like we do now, and we saw they got plate height, they got to the stages that they were meant to get to, and we couldn't get through to any administration team in there to give us a direct kind of confirmation, hey, yeah, you're owed that money.
Yep.
And it was a lot of backwards and forwards, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of text messages, and it was very, very difficult.
A lot of business turnover because they ended up doing the big merger. So there was a lot of turnaround staff that we were working with that were able to help us, and all of a sudden all their emails got deleted. Our emails that were based, we didn't have Mr. Enthusiast emails back then. So we had it all based on that builder, and as soon as we left, they locked us out. So whatever we had, that was it. So it was pretty intense.
Yeah, so that was very difficult. And in March 2021, builder number 1 finally paid us.
Yes.
And they paid us a lot less than what was actually owed to us because they said that they needed to pay another consultant to look after our jobs, and there were price increases and this and that. So we got paid maybe a third of what we were originally promised.
Yeah, it was just over, if that, a third of what was actually owed to us, which was the full 100%. And there were parts that we agreed upon. What happened was these contras is what they claim by builders. And what it basically means, it's like variations after the fact to the commission. And they were putting such bullshit excuses. And I fired up. I'm a fucking fiery motherfucker when it comes to this shit. And I fired up going, here's all the fucking evidence. Fuck you. Pay me what I'm owed. They just turned around and said, cool, no worries. You can handle our fucking legal team. We'll take it to fucking court. I'm not going to court. And we just went, fuck, just take what you can get, and that was it. We left.
Count your blessings.
And we did, because we know of a few that have tried to go down that path and got bled for more money than what they were owed, and it turned into an absolute shit show. We took what we could get and just fucking basically wiped our hands and like dust our hands and went, fuck this, fuck you, never again.
I actually remember talking to another consultant in the industry. I don't know if you're going to remember this conversation with another consultant. They left the same builder that we left, and they were owed money when they left. And after a couple of months, they started chasing their commission because all their jobs had gone to site.
Yes.
And they had calculated, and they told that consultant, actually, you owe us money. And he's like, the fuck?
Yes,
How did you calculate that?
It was actually quite a lot afterwards. So it was already done, and he had already been paid. Everything was done. Then they came back to him and they said, hey, we've just done a calculation. Actually, you owe us money for money that we've paid you. And he's like, how the fuck does that work? And they're like, because that's when, all the price increases, they were bleeding money. And all of a sudden, they just went back to everyone. They couldn't find my number by then. And I was just like, anything that was associated with that business, man, I just started blocking. I was just like, fuck you, I'm done.
So we did get paid by builder number 3, by the way. So we were starting to financially get secure again, starting to feel good. And July 2021, so a year after signing up with builder number 3, we noticed a couple of cracks and issues in the builder because the boom had gone full swing. Everyone signed up as many deals as they could. And again, listen to the episode with Matt about the building boom because we go into a lot more detail about it. But we noticed a lot of delays on site, and price
increases to clients. That we controlled a lot of that. They had to come through us, and we did a lot of mitigation. Actually, reduced a lot of those price increases that were trying to be passed to clients, and that was starting a real big tiff between the builder and us.
Yeah, with management and us.
Yeah, it was more the higher upper management and stuff like that. We've got nothing against the sales manager. He was a fucking legend. He helped us out so much.
Absolutely.
But again, you start adding those little things. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and that's what this was. And it was starting to become very apparent. The cracks were showing. They did control things quite well. They were trying to mitigate the deals during that time. They were reducing, like it was November, they cut off everyone. We lost on a lot of business because people were still trying to get in. So we had nowhere to actually take people. We weren't comfortable going elsewhere because of our
previous history.
So we just, ended up only working for like 3 months, basically, during that 6 months scenario. So it is what it is. So they were doing the right things, but then they just weren't delivering on what they were initially saying. And I am a very, very big person for, if you say something, you fucking deliver on it. There are plenty of excuses. Take ownership. And what do you do to fix it? And they just weren't doing that.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing where we were seeing those cracks and with what was being delivered versus what was being promised.
And we did have a lot of negotiations with the sales manager and the upper management to try and make it easier and better for both parties with clients. And the negotiations that they always came back with were always in the builder's favor, not in consultant or client's favor.
Definitely.
And that started to go against our values, and we started to lose a passion for that builder, I'd like to say.
Yeah, and for the industry, because it just felt like history was repeating itself once again. It was just this vicious cycle where we thought we finally found something that was a bit more understanding and a bit more open to things, being around and understanding our vision. And then honeymoon period was over and it all came out. And when it came in fucking waves.
Yeah. So by September, so a couple months later, we kind of thought we'd stick it out, and negotiations took a really long time with this builder. It was a real kind of pass the parcel process and then pass the parcel back process. It was very long, very tedious. So by September, we were still in negotiations with them, trying to find a resolution.
Yeah.
But we started to look at other building companies because we kind of said, I don't know how much longer we could stay with this builder, or at least we need to get a secondary builder to help divide the workload, get some more speed on site for the client, for our clients. A lot of reasons, basically.
Yeah, there was many like this. We needed some smaller designs. They went. We are very, very transparent. Obviously, you guys can end up, figuring that out pretty quickly with, towards yourselves. But with the builders, we are the same, which is very different to a lot of consultants. And we have an issue, we tell you straight up. And we had these and going, look, these are some of the concerns that we're facing at the moment. These are some of the options that I think can potentially help. Can you guys look at this and can we try and find some sort of something to work with? And they were just like, no, it was like talking to a brick wall. So you can only do that so many times before you just sit there and go, I'm not being listened to. I'm not being valued. The business I'm providing is not being valued either. So you know what? Let's take it somewhere where we do feel valued. It's just like any other business with an employee when you just get run to the fucking ground. You're going, these guys just don't appreciate what we're bringing to the table. So you know what? I'll go somewhere where they'll actually appreciate me. And that's unfortunately what was happening.
There's actually a statistic out there that shows that a employee will be more willing to earn less money but feel more valued than
100%.
Go to a company that where you're undervalued but you get paid more.
Yep.
Which speaks volumes.
100%.
In October 2021, we started entering negotiations with another builder, which is builder number 4.
Builder 4.
And it's the builder that we're currently with.
Yes.
However.
Well, one of them.
Well, yeah.
The main one that we're with, yeah.
However, October was a quiet month for us. We were getting married.
Yes.
So we were finalising all of our wedding planning.
Wedding bells above us. Yep.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
We were also trying to find our own office because we hadn't particularly left builder number 3.
No.
We were just looking for a secondary option for our clients. And ethically, we didn't feel like it was appropriate for us to sit in one builder's office whilst selling another builder's product.
Yep.
So we needed neutral ground space that was our own space, and our house was already getting super cluttered with Mr. Enthusiast merch.
Yeah, we were getting a shitload of shit by then.
Yeah. So we needed our own space. So we were in negotiations trying to find an office. We were wedding planning. We were in negotiations with a secondary builder. And we weren't really selling at the time.
No.
And then 2 days after the wedding, we actually had the commercial building offer and acceptance accepted. And we got keys to the commercial building that we're in now.
Yes.
And we had to pay a substantial amount of deposits. I think it was somewhere around $14,000 worth
That's about
of
right, yeah. With the deposits and the bonds and upfront
rent.
Yes.
Yeah. And we felt good about this. So we paid the last of our wedding deposit. We paid for the commercial rent deposit. And financially, we were feeling okay.
We were good by then, yeah.
Because we hadn't left a builder and we were signing up with another builder. So technically, money should still be flowing the way that it was flowing. And we had learnt from the previous builder, from the builder number 1, we had a lot more in our savings to kind of cover our butts.
Yep.
And builder number 3 didn't see it the same way that we did.
Yeah, they, in my eyes, I think they got a little bit butthurt about it.
Not the way that I'd put it, but okay.
Well, once you guys hear the rest of it, then you can be the fucking judge of this, because we didn't leave. We were still talking, we were still doing things, but we explained from the beginning when we first started negotiations with Builder 3 that we were not solely with one builder. We were working with others. They can be their primary for a certain period of time, and we came to negotiations with that. But we explained to them, we're going to get our own place. We're going to grab someone else to accommodate with the workflow that you guys are physically not wanting to do, so that we don't lose as much business. We'll continue going as is, but it will just be from our own office, because I don't want to be driving 45 minutes to your office for a meeting and then 45 minutes back, and I'm losing half a fucking day driving on the roads. Especially
when you had 2 meetings, one at 10 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. That was rough, because what the fuck do you do between 10 and 6?
Yeah, you do work and shit, but you just lose the whole day. You try and come home, and then as soon as you get home, you get 10 minutes and you go back to the office, because it's a fucking hour drive mid traffic and shit. It was just fucked.
So by January of 2022, we started noticing our savings were starting to really deplete.
Yeah.
Because builder number 3 essentially stopped paying us.
Yes.
And we were expecting income in all the months leading
Absolutely.
up. So we were expecting income in October, November, December, January, and February.
Yes.
However, they hadn't paid us.
No.
Because they changed their structure. And if anyone was following the building boom or had listened to the news at all during this time, your builds took a long time. Everyone's builds were taking a long time.
Huge.
So it's no longer, a 1 month delay between slab down and brick height. It's like
6 to 8 months.
It's a much longer delay.
Most builds were getting into that. Some of them were still pretty quick, but yes, some of them were waiting anywhere an additional 2 to 4 times the average time frame.
So not only were we not getting paid, but we were also not getting paid for a much longer substantial amount of time.
Yes.
And we weren't prepared for such a long gap because the numbers we were working off, or the time frame we were working off, was from builder number 1, and that was before the boom. So that was kind of hard.
That was a hard one. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, what happened, and the thing is it wasn't like what we were waiting for in October, November. Wasn't houses that we had sold in September. These were houses we sold back in March, April, that were due. We followed through the whole process according to the contracts, and it was, hey, time to raise your invoices. So we were raising the invoices as they came to those stages, and the builder number 3 decided we're actually going to push you into the and delay that until past brickwork stage because that. And I was like, well, hold on, I'm still with you guys. They're like, well, no, technically you've been terminated. Here's your fucking, give us your keys, give us your thing. You've decided that you want to go external. Well, therefore this is it. I'm like, well, that's not actually according to your contracts. We went through, we grabbed fucking lawyers.
Yeah.
We went to town because we were losing a lot of fucking money. We were still consuming because we still had our mortgage, and now we got the commercial property, and we're still helping clients. We're still social media. All this shit was still happening every month, and basically our savings dwindled, and we had fucking decent amount behind us to cover our ass because of what happened the first time. But even the lawyers came back and they said, sorry, man, unfortunately this contract is so biased to the builder, they can do whatever the fuck they want basically, and you're just going to have to shut up and fucking take it. I'm like, this is fucked.
Yeah, so that builder had one sentence in their contract that essentially gave us no power.
Yeah, it was open to interpretation, and it's biased to the builder. So
by March of 2022, we still had all of our running costs. We were still paying our mortgage, still paying our employee.
Yep.
Still putting food on the table, and all our day-to-day costs as a business and as a household. By that stage, we were kind of sitting on our last month of savings, and that's when Nick offered to sell his car.
Yeah. It was either that or I'll close the doors and go up north and give up on the entire business model that we had. There was nothing left.
Yeah, and that's kind of the situation that we were sitting in, and that's the one that we referenced in the episode.
Yeah.
When you haven't been paid for such a long time and you're living off your savings, it's a very difficult position to be in. And I'm sure a lot of other consultants that listen, or if other consultants in the industry would agree, it's very difficult to mitigate financial risks with this kind of business model, because when you want to leave, you are now putting yourself in a position where you're not going to get paid for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's a very difficult financial planning kind of position to be in. And even though we really sat down and we did have our savings in place, we did plan for
all
this,
the right things that we thought were good.
It still was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And we weren't expecting builder number 3 to
do what they did.
To instate the
termination clause.
Termination clause, thank you. Or to action it. So we actually sat down with builder number 4, and by that stage we had put deals through builder number 4. We were looking after all of our clients from builder 1, 3 and 4 now, providing a service to all of them.
Yes.
And we sat down with the owner from builder number 4, and we said, guys, like we said, we're in such a hard financial position.
Yep.
And we're probably going to have to close the doors because I wouldn't let Nick sell his car. And he kind of gave us a lot of good advice. And he said, look, like, you are almost at a position to be able to claim for your first job that went through. Just wait it out for another month, like scrimp down to the lowest you can, ask to, hold off your mortgage for another month if you can, talk to your commercial there was
every single possible way to try and do it, because and that's what we were doing. Like, we were, by the time we realized what Builder 3 had done, we scraped down. Like, the FG didn't move. I basically emptied out as much as I could of the fuel out of the car, pulled the battery out, and it didn't move for over 6 months. We ran off with one car, fucking did as much as we could to mitigate our running costs from both personal and the business. We weren't spending on social media. It was just a lot of like organic reach and shit like that. So we did everything we could to try and help extend as much as we could until we could find some sort of possibility. You know, it wasn't cheap getting the lawyer, which didn't end up helping us, but at least it opened up our eyes to, holy fuck, how fucked some shit is. Do you know what I mean? Just all sorts of things like that. So we did what we could. We had taken out a loan to try and just fucking do everything we could. Like, do you know what I mean? And to help with extending the time frame of how much we could do. There was just nothing left.
Yeah.
And it was just at a point where we basically had to try and push through and hope and try and line up and hope that by April, you know, we can get something back to try and survive or
get our head above the water. Yeah.
And he was very, like, the owners of number 4 is, there was a lot of, you know, guidance and a lot of support, which was really refreshing to see from someone in our position. But there was also the fact that, you know, just breaking it all down, going like, it's okay, like, you know, do what you can, like, it's not worth you closing the doors. You provide, this is what he said, and I really do, it stuck into my head, you know, it's like, you provide a really good service for people in WA. You do such a good job for what it is. It will be a shame to see you go and to see what would happen after that, because it's hard to come back once you've closed down. And because there was a lot of parts that I started blaming myself. You know, have I done something that the bills are fucking keep hating and shit? Like, all I'm trying to do is get paid for what I'm fucking owed and do a good fucking job for these clients to have a good experience, which is what we didn't have. That is what we've stuck to. I'm not chasing the biggest fucking dollar. I'm not chasing all the biggest volume and biting off more than I can chew. I do what I can and make sure that we're good. And it just a lot of mental games. There was a lot of mental games during this time and fucking stresses, and like everything, man, everyone's struggling with shit. This was ours. Yeah. And this was fucked because, like, I was done. I didn't want to look at the car. Just want to get rid of it. Hopefully they'll, you know, continue with the business. I could look at a different car, and you'll just like, get fucked. We're closing the business before we sell the car, because the car is literally everything me and Mr. Enthusiast. You sell that, might as well just close the business down. Yep. So...
And I felt like you would always regret it.
A fucking oath. I would. I would.
So yeah, I mean, we took his guidance and we kind of took the leap of faith, and the following month we did end up getting paid, and it just gave us enough to breathe until the following month, where we could claim a little bit more because more clients went to site. So, you know, it kind of snowballed back into a booming business again, like what we've got. We're now feeling comfortable where we've got our savings back up. Yep.
more than before, more than Builder 1 and 3 combined now. Like, it's just like...
We've got all the mitigating risks now. Yeah. But it's a long journey to get to a position where you feel safe enough to leave a builder, because it takes such a long time to get money back in the pipeline that you know that you'll be able to have in, say, 6 months' time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess... Yeah, we thought that we'd sit and record this episode just to kind of shine a light on the darker side of the building industry that no one really talks about. Yep. Even consultant to consultant don't really tell each other these things until one consultant leaves and the other consultant leaves X amount of time later, and then he's like, "Oh, did you know this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I just didn't tell you." Yeah. Bro, why?
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit of a taboo subject at the end of the day to discuss, and at the end of the day, I'm not here for fucking pity. I don't give a fuck. We've busted through. If anything, it shows that no matter what fucking happens, we've found an avenue around. We've pushed through, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it has been, and it's shown, and we're good. You know.
I will say I don't like 2-minute noodles as much as I used to.
No. I still like my feta cheese though. But it's just, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things. It's everyone has their own struggles. A lot of people like to show the most, the best of the best and shit. Like, I don't want to fucking sit down and post this type of shit on socials and for people to see and all that. It's so many people are snoopy as it is. This was a bit of a hesitation for us to actually do this. But after so many of you guys are like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, we need an explanation. And I didn't want to sit there and just message a few people and someone else finds out and then they're like, why didn't you tell us? Like, and I will say during that time, like, it was hard. Like, you don't want to share that with friends and family and shit. Like, it's just, I've got a fucking ego with my family. Just like, I don't, for them to sit there and go, I told you so. Like, running a business, not going to uni, this and that. I was like, I'll write it out. I'll find a way. There's always a way. And we did. We found it. We fucking did killer. But yeah, I would still do it again.
Yeah.
I'd do it again all over again to get to where we are, to help the amount of people that we have, and to see all the different journeys and the experiences. And man, we've been to clients' weddings. They've been to ours. Fucking, you can't replicate this.
No, you can't.
And to go through all that shit again, I would prefer not to. I can assure you, but I would.
Yeah.
Hands down, like I'd fucking go through it again if it meant meeting everyone that we have and the people that we have so far.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, this is a hard topic for us to talk about because no one likes to talk about their downs.
No.
But it does go to show, well, at least I hope it does, that it doesn't matter which walk of life you have. Yeah. Everyone has ups and downs.
100%.
And have this as your little reminder to, ask your neighbour, ask your friends, ask your family, are you okay? Is everything going good? Because not a lot of people asked us that, and the few people that did, I'm pretty sure I sat and cried in their lap.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave it on a downer.
No, fuck that. Nah. And look, sorry guys, like fucking having to listen to something like this, but I think quite a few people are going to appreciate this. To just see, a different side to us and different side to businesses and everything like that. I have definitely got a different viewpoint on businesses and how they run since running our own and seeing the struggles of what we've had to and how things are. But at the end of the day,
you're still leaving it on a downer, Nick.
No. Like at the end of the day, like I said, is the journeys that we have seen people, the experiences and the excitement, people fucking having kids now and into their new home. And like, we're getting clients that have been in their home for 5 years and now coming back going, bro, we're ready for the next one, like bigger this time. And we're on better income. To see so many wins, every single client up until this point that I've known so far, and we came in contact with many people that we've built for, every single motherfucker that's built a house with us in the last 7 years has built money.
Yeah.
Anywhere between 50K and I think the biggest one was 340K within.
I was going to say it's in the 300s.
Yeah. He was 290 or 250 a month after picking up his keys. He went fucking mental.
Yeah.
And then last conversation I had was about 300K. So again, I'd love to be able to replicate that for everyone. Fuck, that would be the greatest thing. But the reality is that
it's time in the market.
It's time in the market. That's how you're going to build it. But at the end of the day, not a single fucker has lost money. And for me, that is the biggest fucking win ever. The amount of friendships we have developed with so many of you fucking legends. The community, the fucking community that we have built is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I will do it all again for that. Seeing how much like, people are actually working together, helping each other move, and just everything is fucking phenomenal. So yeah, that's my high.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's plug.
All right, cool.
Plug.
Where the fuck are you going to find the running business of Mr. Enthusiast at? Google, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and our website.
Awesome. And guys, if you could leave a rating or a review, that would be fantastic. It really does help us in the back end. And just remember, guys.
We're not here
to fuck spiders.
Fuck oath.